Hello everyone and welcome to the first game we'll be showing from the final round of this year's FIDE chess Olympiad. Board 1 for Slovenia is Vladimir Fedoseev, the only player to defeat Magnus Carlsen in the Olympiad in classical with black pieces. Absolutely incredible player. Faces Gukesh, who well needs no further praising, because I feel like every other sentence I'm just praising Gukesh. It's ridiculous how well he's playing, but okay, still he has the black pieces, and of course he wants to win. Now, it has been mentioned that if he wanted to sit out the final round, even though they sort of already won gold for India, like I said, it's still possible for them not to win gold if everyone loses. So he decided to play, even though it means that maybe if he draws or maybe if he loses, he will not be winning individual gold for his board 1 performance. But you know, he's here. He's about to play a World Tour Championship match. Might as well take it all the way. So let's check it out. Vladimir with white plays pawn to d4. We have knight to f6, sorry about that, and the bishop to f4. Fedoseev goes for the, well, sort of a London system setup, the early bishop to f4. We have d5, pawn to e3, and pawn to c5, sort of the accelerated London system. We have knight to f3, knight to c6, and knight b to d2. And we have bishop to g4 by Gukesh. Here is I think a fine example of how, well, definitely one of the strongest players in the world faces the London system in classical. We have c3 and pawn to e6, and this looks like the best possible outcome you could have against a d4 opening. You have a beautiful center, you've already developed your light square bishop, and you don't seem to have any problems. Queen to a4. Okay, putting pressure on the knight. We have knight to d7. Now the knight on c6 is no longer pinned. Plus you can advance f6 and pawn to e5. And we've covered this quite a few times already. It's everyone's favorite maneuver to counter the London with f6 at some point. And also you take away the e5 square from white's pieces. You can see that all of Gukesh's pieces are aimed at guarding that e5 square. We have bishop to b5 by Vladimir and queen to c8. And now there are a couple of games that reach this position. Knight to e5 is an old move, h3 like pawn to e4 castles. But here we have rook to c1, and it is now, as of move 9, that we have a completely new game. So the idea is, obviously, he will castle kingside, he will play c4, double rooks on the c file, and maybe at some point play d captures on c5 to create a strong pawn here. But if you ever capture d captures on c5, it means that you will allow Gukesh to push pawn to e5, which means he will have a massive center here. Okay, so pawn to a6, we have bishop captures on c6, and Gukesh offers a queen trade. Queen captures, we have queen captures, bishop, sorry, pawn captures, and now pawn to c4. So the maneuver that we've discussed, pawn to f6, now getting ready to meet captures with pawn to e5, knight to b3, and now pawn to a5. Saying, okay, that knight on b3 is looking very weird. Pawn to h3 attacks the bishop, bishop to f5, and now king to e2. We have pawn to a4, inviting him to capture on c5, but Fedoseev goes back. Knight b to d2. Pawn to h5, stopping pawn to g4, and now bishop to g3. We have bishop to e7 and rook to c3, preparing to double up on the c file. King f7 by Gukesh, and rook h to c1. Rook h to c8, and now d captures on c5. We have pawn to e5 as planned, and now c captures on d5, c captures on d5, and pawn to c6. So this is the trade-off. Gukesh has a massive center here. He's playing on both sides of the board. His rooks are very nicely placed, but Vladimir has a passed pawn already on c6. So why did Gukesh allow this? Well, knight to b6, and after pawn to a3, stopping pawn to a3 by Gukesh, he plays rook to a5. And now if you look at this position, yes, two rooks on the c-file, doubled, very nice. The passed pawn on c6, very nice. Maybe the knights somehow get into the game. But that's just it. How do they get into the game? How do you improve the position of this knight, of this bishop? This position, I will tell you, this position is so bad for white that the engine actually says, you know, just sacrifice a piece for 2 pawns and hope for the best. Like this is the line that the engine gives. The bishop captures, knight captures, and after the king moves, okay, let's some g4 ideas. Let's say captures, bishop to e6, and pawn to b4. Just trade everything off, and you know, hope that your path c pawn will be enough to get a draw. A captures, knight captures on b3, something like rook captures on a3, and knight to d4, and you have this. Okay, you have very nice control over that pawn, but still you're down a piece. So that is what probably should be played here. And now when you see that line, could even maybe be your best shot against Gukesh this game. However, knight to e1 is played, and now we have rook to b5. Okay, now Gukesh is the one putting pressure on that b2 pawn. Knight to d3, and now pawn to d4. Pawn to h4 also very nice, but you know, for other reasons. We have e captures on d4, e captures, and now rook is attacked, so rook 3 to c2. And now the position is completely winning for Gukesh, but you have to find a very, very critical move to solve this. So have at it while I give you a couple of seconds. And don't look at any weird moves. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on achieving a plus 3000 rating performance. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it is rook to e8. That is the key move. The other move is pawn to h4, but you know, it's also going to be followed by rook to e8, so we're not going to discuss that. Rook to e8 makes sense. That's what we're playing. And the key is that the king cannot just move because the knight on d3 is hanging. So the king is the only piece defending the knight on d3. So knight to f3 is played, and now Gukesh thought about the position for some time, and he decided to deliver the check from the thumbnail. Bishop to b4 check. And he pretty much played it instantly. I thought actually he spent a bit more time. Oh, okay, so no, he played it instantly. Very nice. After knight f3. Yeah, first rook b3. Ah, okay, he prepared with rook b3, and then after knight after e1, bishop to b4 check. Yeah, okay, some 8 minutes he spent here, and there were other moves to consider, other discoveries, but this one just completely destroys white. King to f1, and now bishop captures on e1. There's not much you can do here. The bishop here is completely winning, and okay, you might consider some other moves, but there's just no good move here for Vladimir. Knight captures on e1 was played, bishop captures on c2, and now knight captures on c2. We have pawn to d3, Gukesh starts advancing his passed pawn, knight to e3, and now rook captures on b2. We have pawn to c7, and he just stops the pawn with knight to c8. We have pawn to h4, and rook to a2 going after the pawn, and now the problem is there's no way to defend this pawn. So Gukesh will get another passed pawn. If you go rook c3, rook to a1 will checkmate the white king in a few moves. And if you go something like knight to c4 to defend the pawn, let's say knight c4, then rook c2, again, completely winning. So after rook to a2, bishop to f4 was played. Not the prettiest of moves, but you know, yeah, you don't have anything better. Rook captures on a3. Now Gukesh creates two passed pawns, g3 and rook to b3 now, preparing to advance the passed a pawn as well. Knight to c4, and now rook to e6, preparing to bring the rook behind the passed a pawn. Knight to d2, attacking rook on b3 and rook b2, putting pressure on the knight. We have rook to c3, attacking the d3 pawn, and now just rook to a6. You can have the d3 pawn, the a3 pawn is marching forward. So rook to a3, of course d3 cannot be captured. We have rook to c2, and now knight to e4. King to g6, and now king to g2. We have knight to e7. King to f3, and now knight to d5. We have knight to c3, and that's just it. Nothing more to be done here. It's a one last trick, of course, by Vladimir. If, of course, knight captures, then you can promote the pawn to a queen, and if the rook captures, then still you will capture. Knight captures on c7. Yes, you're up a piece, but a3, and you have problems. Rook will have to block, a2, rook to a1, and you have sufficient means for drawing this game. However, after knight to c3, Gukesh played the strongest reply, knight captures on c7. Other moves also can be played, but Gukesh, I mean, he just plays like an engine. Knight captures on c7, bishop captures on c7, we have pawn to d2, and now king to e2, stopping d1 queen, but now rook to e6 check. King to d1, and here rook to b2 was played. It's the only winning move, but not a very difficult one to find, because your rook is hanging, and you cannot go rook c1 check because king captures, and you cannot go rook to a2. So this is literally your only move, unless you want to play rook captures on c3, which is bad. So rook to b2, and he was in this position on move 48 that Vladimir Fedoseev resigned the game, as there is nothing more to be done here. So beautiful, beautiful victory by Gukesh, and the reason you resign here is there's no defense against rook to e1 check. You just get checkmated here. Or if you play knight to e2 to prevent this, then it's a very simple win. You just win the piece. Rook to b1 check, king captures rook to b2 check, and after the king moves, you will gobble up the knight here, and that's it. Now you just gobble up the king side pawn. You have two rooks versus a rook and bishop. There is no way that you can play this. And I've checked the live ratings before making this video. Let me just check real quickly if they've updated Gukesh's rating, which I don't think they did. Yeah, for some reason they're not updating it. Arjun is the new world number 3 with a live rating of 2797.2, but they still haven't included Gukesh's win from the final round. Yeah, his last win is still considered Fabiano Caruana from yesterday, and yeah, I guess really weird. But okay, as soon as they upload it, I will let you guys know. But yeah, beautiful stuff. India wins the Olympiad. The women's Olympiad is still not sure, I believe, as it's still being played, so they have to finish. But if you guys have any games that you would like to see from there, also do use that hashtag suggestion. And I will also cover some other games like Arjun's games and maybe some Prague games. So, you know, if you have favorites, use hashtag suggestion and I will go over it. As usual, making like one big video and then mentioning the rest after the end. So yeah, very much looking forward to what Gukesh does next. It seems like he said that he might play a classical event before the World Chess Championship match, which means that he might break 2800 there if he does really well, or maybe he won't, and then he will maybe break 2800 in his World Chess Championship match against Ding if he does really well. But again, if a lot of games will be drawn, Ding is now much lower rated. I don't know if you guys noticed, he's not even on the list. Ding is way below. He's currently number 21 in the world, so not doing the best, and Gukesh, you know, going for that. Well, I won't say number 1, but definitely number 2 is within reach. Even Fabi dropped out of the 2800 club during the Olympiad. It is fierce competition. So yeah, that's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Incredible stuff. Gukesh, I think, yeah, only 2 draws and over 3,000 rating performance, like 3,056. So absolutely incredible. I'm sorry, I don't know why they're not updating it. I was sure they will update it for the end of the video, but yeah, still nothing. But okay, we'll get into it in the next one. So yeah, that's the game. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Big congratulations to Gukesh on not just delivering for his country, but also taking down the only player to beat Magnus Carlsen in the Olympiad. So who's been playing just incredible chess here with the black pieces. I mean, this game looked like child's play. So I mean, Gukesh is on fire. So I hope you enjoyed it. I would like to thank Anthony, Littleman, and Anonymous Person, Grandmaster Uncle Moves Only, and Ranko Djugashevich for your contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing to check up on your wonderful suggestions and whatever else happens in the chess world. So thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your Sunday.